Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Blake? What? Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is here, everyone, with a special in-studio interview with my good friend.
Yeah.
Francisco Suarez. How you doing, friend?
Man? Great.
Thank you for joining me in here. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching, you will recall I recently did a video about Francisco's new book called The Halfway Bridge.
There you go.
And I want to screen share this. This is, this is what it looks like on Amazon. The Halfway Bridge. Why does it look like that? This looks better. No, this looks better. No, this looks better. The Halfway Bridge on Amazon. You can get it in English and Spanish. And guys, we're gonna have a nice, relaxed conversation here. And but one of the things I explained in the video that I did, reading parts of this book, is this is a huge Scientology story for Francisco to write a book about. Francisco's father was, and correct me if I misstate any of this, one of the most famous, well, for sure, one of the most famous Scientologists in the Latin American world, in the Spanish-speaking world.
Yeah.
He was one of the most famous people in Puerto Rico. He was, for those of you out there in the U.S., Dr. Eric Berg is kind of a Scientology, a sort of viral celebrity on like keto and nutrition. Well, Dr. Berg was the Frank Suarez of the United States, because Frank Suarez came first. And Frank Suarez was a Scientologist who was a very high level Scientologist. He was an OT8.
Correct.
And he was wealthy and he was famous and he was a big figure in Scientology. In fact, in Puerto Rico, there's only one Scientology organization.
One.
And is it true that your father purchased that building for Scientology? Is that true? Or am I thinking of someone else?
It might be true. Not 100% sure about that, but it might be true.
Okay. True. And the story of you growing up in Scientology, which is the story you tell in your book, your experience with your father and Scientology. Your father gave everything to Scientology.
Everything.
He gave his time, his life, his family, his money. And at the end, oh man, you know, not only does Scientology, not only are they completely incapable of helping anyone with mental illness, but Scientology seems to bring about and create mental illness in many cases in its own members. And unfortunately, your father is a tragic example of that.
Yes.
Something happened later on in his life.
Yes. I explain on the book.
This whole story is told in the book.
Yeah.
Where he was having some sort of a psychotic episode. But I'm sort of telling a highlight here, and then we're just going to get into a whole conversation.
Yeah.
And he was brought to the Scientology ship, the Free Winds.
Right.
He was held under isolation and watch and given various Scientology remedies that did not work. And when for like 6 months, when they could no longer, when they decided they were not going to be able to do anything for him, they, of course, you know, in Scientology, if they can't do anything for you and you're having mental problems, as far as they're concerned, a Scientologist would tell you, you're better off dropping your body and starting over again with a new game.
True.
Now, I'm just you know, saying some stuff. I'm not making any accusations.
No.
Okay.
I'll make clarifications. Yeah.
So, but like, you know, when Scientology deemed they were giving up on doing anything for him, they stopped trying to help him. They let him free back into the real world.
Exactly.
Where he eventually, trigger warning, jumped off a building and ended his own life.
The 9th floor.
The 9th floor of a building, ended his own life. And this was how life ended for someone who had done all of the Scientology there was to do, OT8, all 3 L's, superpower, perhaps. And not only did it drive him crazy, Scientology couldn't help him in any way. And that's how his life ended.
It's a very similar story to Lisa McPherson. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more out of handle, out of the eye, right? It was very, very fast. Okay. By certain people, which I speak about it too in the book, you know, everybody was involved in this, right? So you're right about the Free Winds. Okay. When he started presenting some some issues with his, mental health. Okay, what do? Scientology, they will send them to the free winds. That's where you help the OT level people or higher level Scientologists. And it's my understanding, everything I heard, right, that they turned his back on him, meaning they couldn't help him anymore because their technology, it doesn't really work. First of that, and he has to flee that ship, and that's where everything went down.
Yeah.
Okay, he went down, and there was no help for him. So he did. Yeah.
So
That's just one part of the equation, right?
Yeah.
On the story, the free ones.
Yeah. So you are one of 4 children that your father had?
We're 4.
And my understanding is that there are some children who successfully followed your father's path into Scientology. The 2 children that did, 2 children that not so much, and that I'm basically trying to frame a question.
Okay.
Which is, how involved in Scientology were you? How did Scientology affect the relationship with your father?
Okay.
And I guess I did a poor job actually asking the question.
No, I have an answer. I already have an answer for it, but finish the question if you want.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Listen, so that was in Scientology probably, so I'm 51. So I got out on Scientology. I was officially out. Like, listen, I told Dad, this is not for me. I'm sorry. No matter how much I love you, this is not for me. I believe in God, whatever. This is not for me. So 51, I got out maybe 19 years old, 18 years old, approximately that time. Let's make a count. So that's 33 years ago, I left Scientology. I was older age. We're 4, right? We're a family of 4, and there's I believe, without going into details of my brothers, because I don't like speaking about them. I respect that part. Okay, even if things have happened that I don't like the way they happen. I do have good memories from them. I have good memories of my brothers because that's what I remember. So I'm not speaking about them, but all I'm trying to say, it's what I think happened is that, I got out and the rest couldn't. Without saying who was or whatever, we don't have to go specifics. I got out, they couldn't, they were too young. That's my opinion. I write it in the book. It's right there. When you're younger, that's, talking about your channel, growing up with Scientology, it's harder for you to make your own decisions. You can't. You wanna fulfill that father figure, right? You wanna attest to, like, okay, I wanna be the best I can for my father, and if I don't if I don't do that, he's gonna judge me, and they're gonna stop me loving, and I need that love. I wanna feel that I have a dad that that's there for me, right? My best friend, right? Who was my best friend till that point, till the day I decided to listen. This is not for me. So that doesn't mean that we cut ties. But going back to my brothers or my older siblings, in my opinion, okay, because it's just my perception of what I lived through, they couldn't make certain decisions, okay, and they needed more than me. My father, they're younger, they're little.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest. I carry his name. Okay.
Are you okay if we give the viewers the context of like the age spread between you and your siblings? We don't have to get any more detail than you want to get into.
There's no problem with saying that.
Okay.
I just don't want to identify them.
No,
right?
no, yeah.
They as much as I want to say, whatever, it doesn't matter. We have an age gap of 2 to 3 years between each other. So let's say
between all 4 of you, it's just about 2 or 3 years each.
Yes.
Okay.
With the exception of the little one.
And is your sister the youngest of the 4?
No, one of my brothers.
Okay.
My siblings, right?
Okay.
So finishing your question, my I had the opportunity being an adult already, and that's my perception. It helped me make that determination that this was maybe not necessarily the right thing for me to follow in my life. Okay.
But you were only 19 by the time you made that
19,
decision.
but I was already, I was clear. Though we'll get into that soon, right?
That's right.
Okay?
You've done a bunch of
Okay.
Scientology.
Yeah. So anyway, does that answer your question? That's yes.
So even though at the age of 19, you basically told your dad, Scientology is not for me. My understanding from your book and from knowing you is that had a major effect on your relationship with your dad, but you guys did not ever have to disconnect from each other.
So my father struggled all his life when I said to him, this is not for him, to maintain a relationship with somebody that did not approve Scientology. And I wasn't vocal about it. Why would I be vocal? He will kick me out. He would never speak to me again. There's a disconnection policy. I always knew. I have a chapter called A Noble Lie, where I explain that I had to keep a lie. I just keep withholding that my real things until now. And why? Because selfishness of mine, I don't want it to lose that dad. Okay. So I kept to myself. I told him, listen, this is not for me. And I maintain a relationship, cordial relationship. Okay. Our love and dad, whatever, which unfortunately, it makes me sad to talk about this. It was gone. It was gone. I will recall that day when I told him behind the desk, hey, Dad, and I know what I was doing. I studied all this Scientology. I know what was going to happen to the implications. But that day when I told him that this is not for me, Dad, those are exactly my words. He leaned back like the world collapsed for him, because that's his thing. That's what he believed. That's the only thing he believed, and everything.
Yeah.
And
that must have been so hard.
It was just destructive for me. Destructive. I had to choose. Okay, do I go Scientology, or do I try to maintain a relationship with Father? Let me see you. I'm not gonna speak. In my head, I'm not gonna speak about Scientology ever, for now, while you're alive, right? And just keep it to myself, because I want to have that. Even if I don't approve what you're doing with the family, and I don't approve your actions with me, your corrections with the other kids or whatever. Contradictory in a way, okay? Very selfish of me, withholding my feelings, just so I did not lose my father, which I did many times over the past of the 30 years. Next, there was a lot of disconnection, including 7 years. So anyway, that's my point in terms of like my implication of backing out of Scientology. He was very into it. He'd probably be into it for at least 6 to 7 years or more when I was already there. Probably OT3 or one of those levels up there. He was already going flags. And I had to make that decision.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
I was not a cookie. I was not easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think people will be interested to understand how much Scientology you did and how involved you were and how deep you had gotten even at the age of 19, before you had decided, this really isn't for me.
I'll make the short version, or you want the long, or let me give the medium one.
Sure.
Okay, the medium one. So 15 years old, got into drugs very heavily. I was really a bad student also. I was like, whatever you call that, PTSD or whatever. I didn't want to.
ADD.
Oh my God, ADHD or whatever, PTSD, whatever. That's funny. Yeah, that's funny. So, bad student, bad grades, rebellious, drug addict, all kinds of drugs.
And was this in Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico, 15 years old. Unfortunately, an empty house. Dad always working. Mom playing tennis. Big house, lots of money. I didn't grow up. It was a big house. And I had everything for ourselves, including my friends. Parties, whatever. I'm 15, 14 years old, 16, right? I'm right there. I got into drugs very heavily. Why? Maybe the emptiness of the father figure. Maybe my childhood, whatever. Trying to find ways. I was never social with people. So, when I did drugs, it make, oh my God, now I can talk to people, whatever, just finding purpose, right? And then just, sign, the parents start to correct me. Okay, we got to put him in rehabs. Then dad and mom are getting divorced. Okay. Scientology appears in dad's life as they're getting divorced. As they're getting divorced, he starts drinking. He's broke. He had a fight with his grandpa, but they had a manufacturing business. Everything's going to shit. Everything's going down. Everything's going down. His life is going to shit. He became a complete alcoholic. Okay, unfortunately, but that's what happened. He buys his Dianetics book. He finds it. I think it was because they will have Dianetics in Puerto Rico in books in a little stand back then. Not anymore. They can't do that anymore. Everybody knows what Scientology is now, but it's funny. But they will have that shit. Apologies for my wording.
It's okay.
Well, it's the truth. They will have that. They will have that stuff next to the movies, Dianetics books. So, where did he pick that book? Nobody really knows, but it was probably a pharmacy, the Blockbuster, the gas station. They're, because they had a mission in Puerto Rico, not even an org. It was just a mission owned by a Scientology OT. He picks out the book. He reads it. He goes take some marriage counseling courses. Of course, that's what they need. Okay, he does the personality test, which it's a joke, but anyway, personality test, takes the marriage counseling. So now he's trying to feed my mom. I know it's all, this isn't the thing. Okay, this is all, and this is exactly what I wrote this. Okay. Scientology counseling, marriage counseling. We got finance problem books, all those little courses, which you probably are aware of. The little pamphlets, $50 back then was like 40 or 50 bucks. So now he's trying to get family members into something that he just found that it was interesting for him. Okay, and then he starts meeting people there in the mission, and now he goes from somebody that's lost to now he has friends. Now he has friends. He's trying to get mom involved. Mom says, no, not for me. This is the time that the Time magazine puts the article on the front page. So
it's like around 1992, 93, something like this.
Imagine my mother with kids. We're 4, trying to protect us from his ex-husband. They're still having divorce, right? From
they're still going through the divorce.
Yeah, they're still going to divorce, and dad is introducing his new tool, Scientology, and he's trying to have mom, hey, you should look into this or whatever, and mom is like, no. So now she's protecting us. I'm the adult, so I'm the one that's going to listen more to mom, right? Then a couple of other siblings too, and that's with that. Okay, that's how he got into Scientology, and trying to find meaning, right, to his mental depression or whatever. He's done, right? If that's
and so then what was your first involvement?
So I'm in drugs. Going back to the drugs part, I'm in drugs. I'm crazy. I'm sleeping anywhere. I don't care about mom says or the dad said, or I don't care. I'm just doing my drugs. I'm doing my whatever I want to do. I'm partying. I'm 16. Dad is trying to raise a new business. Okay. He's broke, but he found Dianetics. He's trying to get a new business. And then there's Francisco, the destruction. Okay. I'm not letting that happen because my destruction is so bad. And that's exactly what happened, that he can't. He's impossible. We gotta lock him up. You know, so they put me in rehabs, right? They put me in Dianetics. They get
Well,
me
like at the mission?
they get me on the sauna.
Mm.
I have a chapter called the what is it? The sauna of hell, something like that.
Mm.
It was hell. They feed me a bunch of niacin and oil. I had to drink, stuff like this, oil. Okay. Had to drink a lot of vegetable oil. I remember it was awful. Niacin, vitamins, walk around the neighborhood. And I just wanted to go party with my friends. But it's like, you either do that, or we're going to lock you up, or we're going to send you to rehab, or whatever. And I did it. So
did you go to one of the Narconon rehabs, or was it just other rehabs?
Later in life. But let me finish the Purif. You're going to laugh. So that couldn't find a way to get me in the Purif. Okay. I hate saunas, by the way. Still to this day. Never invite me to that shit. So he put me in a sauna, and he's like, he has this wonderful idea. Now we're going to invite. What about we just invite your friends, my drug addict friends, my party people, okay,
into the sauna?
And I'm like, yes. So the whole story is very sad, and this is more funny, right? That's fine. But this is just trying to speak to me as a juvenile, and he's trying to push the Purif, which I did like 3 or 4 times. We ended up setting the Purif and almost on fire. Okay, the kind of shit that we did. Okay, it's messed up. So just giving you the idea of the person that's speaking about the book. I was a disaster. Okay.
Yeah.
That didn't work. They did auditing. That didn't work either. I eventually, I can talk about it later, but how did I make it to clear, right? It's fake, right? But so how do I make it there to clear? I came to realize after years of not finding a way for my father or family members or whatever to look outside the bubble, Aaron, that maybe I should just try to fool this thing.
The e-meter.
The whole thing. Just only the meter.
You mean fool the Scientology system?
The whole thing. The whole thing. Locationals, the assist, maybe if I do that, maybe I could tell him, like I did one day, like a man. It's like, by the way, I am not a clear dad. I made all that up.
Oh, so sort of in your mind,
I'm going to to that part, but yeah, in my mind.
So you're thinking, okay, if I sort of fake my way through this and I achieve it, I can then go back to my dad and be like, it's all bullshit, Dad.
You gotta understand, I got this. This is like this teenager that's doing cocaine, doing crack, doing all these things like unsupervised, right? At that age, destructive, trying to figure out what the hell did you get into, my dad? Why? What is that you see there? Are you finding somebody that would make you feel better? Is it I don't know. What is it? Because this is very weird to be, sitting in front of everybody doing TRs for hours. That's Narconon. That's what I did. They sent me to Narconon and part of my life. It's shit. I just don't, going completely out of the question and out of the subject, I don't make sense to me that in 2025, this is still going. It doesn't, Aaron, it doesn't make sense.
I know.
It's a scam.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's continuing to go in some respects in that they still exist, but it's not going very well.
Well, so we did Narconon. I went to rehabs, Dianetics counseling, Scientology counseling, the whole thing all the way to clear. They sent me to Miami, Coral Gables. I had so much fun there because I was just partying, right? No, really. It was fun.
Were you a public at Miami, or were you a staff member, or what?
They wanted me to be all the time. No, I was just sent there to do my finishing my clear, because I originated in Puerto Rico. I said, I am, clear, the cognition, right? I hit it. I finally, pop. Oh, what did you say? So Miami, by weeks, by myself, 16 years old, with problems. And I have a father that all he wants to do is portray the Scientology system on him, myself, and the family. Okay.
So within like a year or two of being in Scientology in Puerto Rico, you had enough auditing that they were like, you've achieved
2
the
years,
state of clear?
at least 2 years, 2 years and a half.
Okay.
In and out. In and out. Yeah.
Incredible.
And so the fanatism that Dad had was very rapidly growth, right? So he went from 0 to 60 like this. Then he starts basing all his life was based on that, to the time of his death. Yeah.
Were you and your siblings all already born by the time before your dad got into Scientology?
Yes.
It seems like yes.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So he brought all 4 of his kids and tried to bring his ex-wife, or soon to be ex-wife at that time, into Scientology.
She had no choice.
Did your mom join for a little bit?
No.
Okay.
No. So he married 3 times.
Okay.
My dad married 3 times.
Yeah.
The second one, of course, was a Scientologist. He met in, the mission.
Yeah.
Okay. That lasted maybe a year or less, right? And I have my assumptions of my speculations of what happened, and it's some weird stuff. It's in the book too. It's some weird stuff. Like my dad probably said, not it. That's not it. So he married the 3rd time to this beautiful lady, in my opinion. Okay, a good person. Finally, he finds a normal person. Okay. After a rocky, divorce, second wife divorce, he's still trying Scientology, right? He's up there already OT, and he finds this good person, in my opinion, humble, and he does well, but eventually, there comes a time that she had to join, right? So everybody had to join. Okay.
Oh, he didn't meet her in Scientology?
No.
But I'm just saying, she's
I don't know.
another person.
So the details are not. All I'm trying to. I don't want to talk about those details. All I'm trying to say pertaining to what I wrote is that anybody around my father's circle
had to be in Scientology.
Right. That's my point. Okay. That's what I'm trying to say.
If she was going to continue to be his wife, she had to continue to be in Scientology.
Any other wives,
right.
Other wives, including my mother, okay, or any of the family members that wanted to be close to father, because of the way that the system is built, designed, you had to. Anybody that opposes Scientology around you, what happened to them? Right, you're out. You're out. You're either out or you're out.
Yeah.
There's no.
We talked about your father being very high profile in Puerto Rico. How did that come to be? And was he known to be a Scientologist?
No. So that's the answer to the second question, right? So he was not known to be a Scientologist.
He wasn't public about it.
No, that was just private to him. Now, what was the other question?
Well, we talked about him being very well known in Puerto Rico and Mexico and South America.
In the world.
How did that happen?
During the divorce, he goes bankrupt. Okay, he loses everything. He comes from a not wealthy family. He comes from a very commercial family, business family. Okay, they ran toy manufacturing business in Puerto Rico. Okay, very successful. So my dad had and all this is in the book, so I'm not coming up with anything that I haven't written already. He has his business background, creative, so he would create dolls, toys, and then take them to China, Taiwan, and manufacture them and be successful about it. He helped his dad administer his business, right? So he will be the creative part of it. Why am I saying that? Is because after he goes bankrupt, and he also start having issues with his father, because then he finds Scientology. Scientology is taking his time now. The business, he starts pulling away from his responsibility as administrator of the business. Okay, his father's enterprises, right? He finds a need to create another business for himself. Okay, he's finishing his divorce. Now he has Scientology group, which they're advising them, in certain things, meeting, networking with other Scientologists with money or not, right? Other people, right? He's alone. He decided that he wanted to create a business, and he started with another business. They sold products, just retail. Okay. After he met somebody that was in the group, right? In the mission, he met people in the mission, and he formed partnerships, friendships. He creates a business that ended up not working, Aaron, after many years. Okay, for whatever reason, we're not gonna know. I can probably assume. And he goes again, starts from zero again. Now he's a Scientologist, and he decided to create a diet. I'm just gonna create a diet and help people and create write a book about it, and write and create a course so people come in and what can I say? Let's see.
So, but that is what he became famous for.
He became famous for the diet business,
The diet and nutrition
nutrition
industry.
business. He started creating a lot of content in YouTube.
That's right. He had a big channel. How big was the channel? Like
10 million.
10
well,
million
not back then,
Right.
And he would just speak about health things. He did research. He learned about diet. Just read 20 books. I read it there. I would come home from my craziness, and I lived with him, and he would have stacks of books of diet, all of them. Atkins, the other was the Weight Watchers, all of them. And he developed his own way of helping people. Okay.
So ended up being like diet advice and supplements business, basically. I mean, had his own supplements and stuff?
Yes. So he had a business where he would bring in, people and advise them, like a Weight Watcher kind of thing, and advise them how you need to lose. Yeah, sorry, I'm laughing. It's just there's sorry, not about you. It's the whole reasoning behind, unfortunately, about how he did it, or what the intentions were, or whatever. There's what can I say? He was trying to find something that would allow him, this is the truth, to pay his OT levels, okay, to keep paying for Scientology.
Right. To pay.
And that's my opinion. That's my perception. Some people might deny that, but that's exactly what he was doing. He wanted to find out what was next for him. Well, let me see what's done. And I remember, he will have to borrow money to, sometimes to go up there.
Yeah. So what geographies was he most successful in? Where was the business most?
So Puerto Rico.
It was mostly Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Everything was born in Puerto Rico. Yes. Yes. But anyway, that's yeah.
Yeah. So then, okay. So at 19, you basically tell your dad you're not going to pursue Scientology. What was the period that you mentioned? There was like 7 years of disconnection. How did that? Was that directly Scientology related?
Yes. Yes.
How did what brought that about, and then how did that get remedied?
So I kept my mouth shut about Scientology all my life, as much as I could. Okay, I kept it, in my home. I did not want to lose my dad. I didn't want to lose my dad, or my family members. Okay, it's very tough. Okay, I had to shut up. It's like, okay, yeah, I had to. What? How do you say you fake it till you make it, right? I never make it. I never made it, right? I, in my own book, in my own head, I was a hypocrite in that way, right? I kept it to myself. I kept my feelings to myself, but the truth. Like, it's like if I have something I feel about you, right, and I don't tell you, right? I kept it to myself. So anyway, reframe me the.
Well, so you were keeping it to yourself for the sake of maintaining the relationship. So what eventually led to that?
So that 7-year disconnection comes from the fact that I probably made a mistake and mistaken their heads, right? That one day I mentioned to somebody, one person, I said, stay away from Dianetics or stay away from Scientology. Don't go there. I said it that way. That's exactly how I said it. I said, do not go there. And I warned them, that might not be the best thing for you. Just like that. Stay away from them. And it happened to be that they knew one of my siblings. Okay. That person that I said that knew one of my siblings. And that made it to Dad. And he called me while I was on a Home Depot. I'm like, what? 20 something years old, adult now, probably more than that, 28, 29 years old. He called me to tell me, I can have to disconnect from you. That's a formal process of disconnection, right? I'm just calling you. He called me from Flag, 100% sure. He called me from the process center because it's all very scripted. He's reading a paper for sure. And I know what's happening when he called me. I was expecting that call. One day in my life, somebody, maybe a slip of me telling somebody, which I didn't. I kept it to me and my closest one, to me. I never spoke about Scientology. And he disconnected from me for 7 years. 7 years. And I cried a lot in a Home Depot in Puerto Rico. I'm never going to forget that. I can even remember when I was standing in the store, okay, like a baby, because I know what that meant. Okay, and that turned to be 7 years. After 7 years, I don't know. My assumption is that the pressure of his group around him, his family or whatever, and I say the group around me, the family, right? Scientology, part of the family, right? Maybe he got some pressure to listen. Francisco's not that bad. He don't mess with nobody. I don't really mess with nobody.
Because the other family members were still in touch with you?
No, this is just my assumption of how he came about coming back to me. Like what happened? What led him to come back, talk to me again?
No, I know.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Were your other family members still in touch with you? Your siblings?
Yes.
Were they allowed to be, or were they doing it secretly? It's okay if you don't
It's
know.
a mix. It's a mix. I think they were allowed to there, or they didn't really did probably disregard my father's. This is just probably because I don't know. I didn't have that. It's not like a brother super close relationship. It's very like, be careful what you talk to him. I'm a WOG, right? you know what a WOG is, right? Of course, we talk about it in the channel, right? I'm a WOG. Be careful. So something happened. Maybe he's OT levels or family pressure. Hey, maybe Francisco's not that bad. And actually, what happened was, I believe I believe, I remember just now, he got sick. He got sick. He got sick in Puerto Rico. And specifically what happened, it could have been appendicitis, or it could have been one of his experiments, because he used to do experiments with his diet stuff, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, right? So he got sick, very bad. He got sick. He went to the hospital, and he asked for me after 7 years. Okay. And what did I do? I took a flight the next day. I wanted to see my father. Okay.
Where were you living
Sorry.
at that time?
I was here.
In Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Shit. Sorry. Sorry, man.
It's okay.
I took a flight to the island to see what's wrong with my dad, because I haven't seen him. Sorry. Shit. Okay. I haven't seen him in 7 years. So he gave me the opportunity to go see him. I'm sick, son. Calm down. I believe it was not even him. It was somebody he told to call me that he was asking for me. Okay. So maybe he feared for something was wrong with him, or maybe he wanted to let me know he was sick in case something happens to him, whatever. I went down to see him and stand in front of his bed there in the hospital. And it was the first time that he was more dad than Scientology. He told me, I miss you, son. I wish you can help me do some stuff whenever you can. I need help in some things, whatever. I was there. But it happened again in the future, another time.
The disconnection.
I did another disconnection for another 2 years. Okay?
Jesus.
All because my father always had the assumption, and my siblings, that I was always speaking out about Scientology. Hallucination. I'm not kidding. I would probably maybe say to somebody close to me, but not like they're gonna go tell them that I was saying that, right? I kept it to myself. I wanted all my family, and I wanted my dad. So I did it again. The second time, he admitted it. It was a mistake to disconnect from you. Because now I'm the one pushing back. But he admitted it. I have letters from him admitting that he made a mistake. And I believe, not to be mean, that it was part of the higher OT levels, where he needs to settle loose strings with family members, no matter what, or suppressive or enough, in order to move on. Okay, that's what I think happened, and I know for a fact, but that's what I think happened, and that's it with that part of the story, right?
Wow.
Disconnection. So I probably missed 10 years out of my dad's life.
Wow.
Okay? There was always a persecution with everybody that was part of that group, Scientology, in the family. All of them. Thinking that, I had a Machiavelli's plan to bring them down. They always, for some, maybe just because I didn't have, Aaron, how do you say? I never showed any, I don't care. You do you, I do me. I'm sober, leave me alone. And they keep pushing that over the course of 35 years, and they could never succeed.
Wow.
Well,
the only thing worse than a non-Scientologist is an ex-Scientologist to a Scientologist.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. By the way, I wrote this book, right? Going back to the little book, okay? I have a chapter just for Scientology. Why? Because the book Scientology is a big part of it. Mostly, the whole thing, right? It's what driven my family separation, my eager to fulfill my own dreams, and became a programmer and raise my family outside of that. My kids, my wife, everybody around me. I try to protect them from that all my life, without severing my father relationship. So that's my contradiction. That's what I wanted to shit. I love you. There's the line. We can be in the same room together, my father and I, but we have a very, very, very respectful acceptance in my own head that this is it. I'm not gonna come open about it to nobody. I'm not gonna tell you about the clear thing that I did, which about it. I told him. Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but we maintained that for all our lives, and not even the siblings or the family knew about it. We had a special, different relationship than anybody else. He portrayed, in my opinion, to everybody else a different opinion, so he can get away with what he wanted to do with others. It was a manipulation thing in its own way, all driven by Scientology tactics, right?
Do you mean he pretended to others like his relationship with you was better than it really was, or worse than it really was?
No.
Is that what you were saying?
No, it was just different. It was very different. It was more of a respect relationship. He pretty much got tired the past 20 years of his life of pushing Scientology on me. He finally accepted that there was no way that he would get Francisco into Scientology. For whatever reason he fought, or Scientology fought.
I get it.
They fought about, they talk about it. We had a problem with the clear state, or we had a problem with, remember, Scientology is always gonna look for a reasoning to maintain those members inside. Why you left Scientology? There's always a reason that Asmithlevin and Francisco left Scientology. It's on the folder, right? So that's what he did. He continued his OT stuff and all his levels with the acceptance, convincing Osa and all those people at the Scientology that his oldest son was not a suppressive person like they were trying to claim. They wanted to get rid of me. Scientology had to try to get rid of me in the eyes of my father all his life. Francisco. That's the biggest problem you have, Frank. And that's what they sold him on. And he believed it. It's Francisco. You cannot do all these 6 whatever, but you got to deal with Francisco. And I have communications on all that. It's not like I don't, It's like, it happens. I've seen them. I've seen those things.
So even all the way through to the end of his life, am I correct that you were not, he was not fully, properly, officially disconnected from you, but you were definitely cut out in some ways? As far as everything that happened in the last, I don't know, year and a half
he found a way to fool the system, in my opinion. He found a way to maintain me in his life without being declared. He protect me in my own head. That's my assumption in my book. I try to understand why he would do that, right? But as part of his OTs and whatever, he tried to figure out a way. Initially, it was not like that. Initially, he would try to shut me down, okay? It's like, okay, disconnection. He tried to get me fired, believe it or not, from a Scientology-owned business in Clearwater. It's on the book. They will send emails and stuff to them. Hey, by the way, you have somebody employed that's a runaway Scientologist.
Wow.
Imagine me with my 2 daughters that I just moved to Florida, and I have a father, which I love, trying to get me fired from my job, which I'm using to feed my family. Okay?
It's rough.
How do you, what's love and what's not, what's hate, what's not, to what extent would I go, right? And I never spoke about Scientology. And the Scientologists would, you know what they would tell Dad? He's the best employee we have here. I don't agree with your things. There were Scientologists defending me.
Wow. So you think that after he reconnected with you for the last time, that he basically was working to convince Scientology they didn't have to be worried about you? They sort of wanted to be worried about you, and
I think
and
he
thought
did.
you were a
I think he
suppressive
did
influence.
because he had to get me shelved on their eyes in order to get the truth revealed, the whole thing. It was part of the process. You're auditing whatever. You had to.
Right.
How do
he
we
had to convince them that you're not a problem.
how do exactly? He never did. Okay, he never did. And here's the proof, right? We're talking about it right now, right?
Well, he must have, because they let him do OTA.
He went all the way up.
Right.
After multiple attempts from his part of first either attacking me, and then he probably said, well, maybe let me try the good way. Let me try to defend him. Now, but it was not only him. So other people were conspiring against me. I talk about it, right? I don't mention names and whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just the whole story is of how the hell did I maintain a father figure all my life, a super devoted, like Friends of Miscavige, right? He was all the way up. Okay. This is the only thing that worked for my dad, Scientology. There was nothing else. Don't even come close to it. I'm talking about the biggest library of Scientology books you can ever imagine. My father had it.
He was like obsessed with it.
Obsessed. It's an obsession. In Spanish, we say fascinación, right? Obsessed.
Fascination.
Fascination, like obsessed. And I never made sense of that. It never make, I could see him not being an alcoholic or improving his certain things, but I can't really attribute that to Scientology.
You couldn't figure out why he gave the credit for everything he ever accomplished to this one thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Tom Cruise does. Everything he ever accomplishes thanks to Scientology.
But in the end, the family is getting destroyed. There's people like me and others that said, not for me.
Right.
And Scientology is getting hammered in the 90s or 2000s to a good thing. I wish, this is what happened. So divorce and all that stuff. Anyway, my way of fooling my father all my life, it's not necessarily what everybody should do. And this is what I wrote a book. One of the reasons I wrote a book, because I kept it to myself. I didn't want to tell
when you say fooling your father, do you mean not being honest about what you felt about Scientology?
Not being honest about my opinion. Okay. I never criticized Scientology to him or told him my real opinions. I did tell him the time that I fooled the system, right? Which was me as a teenager in Coral Gables, Miami, also in Puerto Rico, finding ways. Let me make sure this is real. Okay. And I did. I fooled not only the e-meter, I fooled the auditing sessions. And probably that's not the best achievement for somebody to do that. And probably other people have done it in order to get acceptance of their marriage, which, let's say there's a wife that likes the Scientology, the husband is not really convinced, but I know if I leave it, we're gonna split. So let me keep faking it. And that's what most Scientology, believe it or not, I was speaking in behalf of all Scientologists that are out there. I hope I'm making sense. That somebody in the family is not really, they just don't want to speak about it because they don't want to be disconnected. Right. They know they're going to be kicked out. They know they're going to throw them out of their house. They know they're going to be everything. So that's my whole analogy with me speaking out now at 51 and writing a book. Why did I write a book, right? Why did I write a book?
How long ago did your father die?
2021.
Okay.
February 2021.
Okay. you spent most of your life intentionally not speaking out about Scientology for your father's sake,
Correct.
for the family's sake,
Yep.
the relationship's
Yep.
sake. What made you decide you really wanted to do it now? You needed to do it. Was it really just as simple as the relationship you've been trying to save this whole time was just no longer there?
Because I have nothing to lose anymore, and I have my more simpler explanation of why. Right? Like, there's no religion anymore. Okay, I wanted to speak out. Okay, I wanted to speak out, and it feels good. Actually, it feels good after 30 years or more to tell the truth. What happened? What did I have to endure? Because it was an abuse, Aaron. It was the most abusive thing a human being could actually endure. Scientology, and I know I can see your tears too, is the most abusive mental thing that somebody could endure. It's Scientology. And it doesn't come right away. It comes very slowly. Very slowly. It's well designed. He did it correctly. And Mr. Hubbard did it in a way that by the time you realize this is shit, it's almost impossible to leave. They make it that way. It's the prison of belief, right? Or to give you a sample, beyond belief, right? Jenas, right? Is it what is it called?
Beyond belief.
Beyond belief. What did I mention that? Because it's very hard to leave, and the abuse that I had to endure in order to not be kicked out of that circle that I needed. I needed to feel that I had siblings, that I had a father, that I had a support system. And that was a decision I made. I made the decision to just go on with your life. Don't talk about it. Shut up, and have that person be around you as little as they want to, because it's not like he wanted to be with me all the time. I believe he wanted me to just be quiet, just enjoy your life, and just let me do my stuff. And I did. I respected that. I had to. That's another part. I needed to respect that. But now, my mental health, meaning for my own sake, my own head, I wanted to speak so other people don't go through this.
Yeah.
This has a bigger meaning than selling a book to somebody that wants to buy it. It's exactly what happened to me 35 years ago. How did I stay away from it? How did I escape?
Yeah.
And how did I manage the family, which I lost? Okay.
I think Scientology has benefited massively from the fact that most of your father's fans and followers and customers and clients did not know he was a Scientologist. And, when I say Scientology has benefited, it's because your father's story is such an example of the failure of Scientology. And yet most people who know what happened to your father, because he was so high profile, don't know that it was a product of his life in Scientology. They just don't know. And so, when you first told me you were considering writing a book, I was like, oh man, Scientology.
But he
should be terrified of this.
Here's the main issue that I have with Scientology is that they're going after Latin people. I am Latin. I'm Puerto Rico, from Puerto Rico. Beautiful place. Spanish-speaking market, meaning people. There's only one Dianetic Center, or they call it org. Nobody knows about Scientology there. Okay, what does that have to do with this, right? Scientology already figured out, this is my opinion, that, and it's on the book too, that us here in the United States, mostly English-speaking people, know what Scientology is. Going Clear, Anonymous, South Park, Tom Cruise Nuthead, which I don't even watch his movie, but anyway, the whole world, Aaron. Let's be plain here. The whole world knows that Scientology what they are.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tommy G, yeah, I know you saw the video he did. What is it called? Like the world's most notorious cult.
How? But think about it. How? Well, they figured out. Good luck with that, Scientology. They're gonna go after the Latin speaking people now. And they figured that out, meaning this is hard. I'll tell you why. They're going after not Puerto Ricans too hard, because Puerto Ricans are very family oriented, humble people. It doesn't work out. Somehow they found that, right? And that found that and whatever, but it doesn't work in Puerto Rico. You go to the org there, and there's probably a couple.
So Scientology's never done well in Puerto Rico.
No, it's funded by
even though there's only one, and it's never even done well.
It's funded by its own members, like Clearwater here, right? It's the buildings and everything. It's just okay. I'll tell you that. They're going after the Latin market now, Latino speaking people. With what are they doing? The human help. They will go
like the human rights.
No, they'll bring food, pallets.
Humanitarian aid.
Yes,
I see.
Yes, and they're doing that not only in Puerto Rico. They go to Haiti, and unfortunately, and people are not gonna like me saying this, and that's okay. It's okay. Attack me, whatever. It's my opinion, but I'm 100% sure this is right. My father was part of this too, meaning he would be part.
I just want to know, what's the opinion everyone's going to hate you for? I want to hear it.
Well, he would be part of these groups that would bring food and help to Haiti with the
volunteer ministers,
and the yellow shirts.
Yeah,
and put your face in front of that group because he believed that Scientology is doing good, right, or whatever, and that's the way to do it. This is how we're going to promote Scientology, by helping the poor people. Mm-hmm. It's all over the internet. This is not me coming up with this idea or the book. And this is not defaming my father. This is the truth. He was front man, president of the Way of Happiness of Puerto Rico. If you didn't know that. He was the president of the Way of Happiness in Puerto Rico Foundation. And it's a way of Scientology. We know that, with the little booklet. To get you to go somehow. They think that it's impossible, but
from your perspective,
yes.
How does promoting Scientology to a poor population help Scientology?
No, zero.
It doesn't, right?
Zero. Well, it's disgusting. Sorry, but it's
what's disgusting? That
they're doing that. What would it? How would that be even allowed? And we don't talk about it. It's like you should see the pictures.
No, but I mean, I think I might have missed the point that you were making.
Okay,
is that they really aren't successful in promoting Scientology to the Puerto Ricans, and so it sounded like you were saying, and therefore their new strategy is, and it sounded like you were going to say something scandalous.
So they haven't been successful. Okay, they haven't been successful. Yeah, I know. Okay, I got you. It's coming. So they haven't been successful with Puerto Rico or anywhere else because everybody knows in the world that Scientology, what they are, they're bad people. Okay, period. There's no question about this. Read their freaking book. Okay, let's try to explain to them what. Okay. Did I say freaking? Yeah, I did say freaking. I say freaking. Anyway, I hope so. Okay. So the point is simple. I'm going spinning on this thing for a while here. They're going after Latin people because they don't know about it. Okay.
I'm laughing at what I think you're gonna say, but I have no idea what you're gonna say. Have you said it already? What was the thing everybody was gonna hate you for?
That I said, I'm talking about my father's fans, that I said that my father was part of this humanitarian groups, which in fact, they're not humanitarian groups.
Right, okay.
They're fake front groups from Scientology.
Totally true.
Yeah, so that was my point.
Okay.
That was my point. And I completely went on a little spin.
I thought you were going to hold on. I thought you were going to say they couldn't recruit the Puerto Ricans because we were too smart. So they went
Yes,
after the
yes.
Mexicans and
No, 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 no. Don't go there. Don't go there.
That's
Don't
what
go
you
there.
were gonna say.
No, 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 no. Okay.
Is that what you
okay.
were gonna say?
No. No. Oh my God, Aaron.
I thought that's what you were gonna say.
I had to apologize for this. Okay, so Latin speaking people. I never said, oh my God. Okay,
No, that's
okay.
what I thought you were
okay,
gonna
okay.
say. I was like, because you said they're really targeting the Latins now, but they couldn't succeed with the Puerto Ricans. So they went after the Mexicans.
Well, they are. They're going after Mexico. They're going after Costa Rica.
Right.
I'm trying to pull you back here. Okay. Try. Okay.
Isn't that what you guys thought he was gonna say?
Okay.
I know that's what you thought.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, they really are targeting the Latin American community, even in LA.
You have no idea how bad it is. It's bad. And my book tries to put a stop to that. Okay, tries, because I hope it sells cool, sure, but this is what's gonna help a lot. Talking about it, right?
Yeah.
You want to buy the book? Buy the book. That's fine. Cool. I made there's a Spanish version. So this book was done first in Spanish, and then I said, you know what? Why not give English people too what they really want to hear? The story about somebody that was follower of Scientology, then they turned their back last minute on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
No, I mean, because your father was so well known, because he wasn't just well known in Puerto Rico.
Oh my God.
He wasn't just well known in Puerto Rico.
The whole world.
Yeah.
So when my father passed away, it's probably the biggest problem Scientology has right now. They don't know it yet. They will know it, and it's not a threat. They will know it because that was very loved, right, by a lot of people. Okay, his decision. This is contradictory a little bit. Okay, so bear with me. His decision of his belief system, because it's not a religion. Okay, it's his belief system. It should not pertain unless it's a damaging belief system, which I think people should not go through what I went through. Okay, and he believed in something that screwed him up like that.
Yeah.
When he actually needed help. So that's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you, like, the fact that Scientology has been going so heavily after the Latin American community.
There you go.
And the fact that there really isn't a Spanish language YouTube channel that educates people on Scientology.
It's
gets
coming.
The word out about
it's coming.
Scientology.
It's coming. It's coming.
Well, I mean, I've encouraged many people to do it. You and I have spoken about it.
Yeah.
YouTube even has released new functionality.
Yeah.
Where even my American videos, if you're Spanish, you can actually watch them dubbed over in Spanish. But the fact that that your father was so well known in the Latin American community, that Scientology, in my opinion, destroyed his life, destroyed him.
Yeah.
Caused severe harm to his family.
Yes.
The fact that he's so well known, and the fact that now the world will find out what Scientology's role in that.
Yes.
I've been so excited.
I really can't wait for people to either get, I don't know, Kindle, $10. That's, I can put it lower. But
the Kindle version.
Yeah. Come on.
Is there already a Kindle version of the book?
Yeah. $10. It's on the same page, right? The Amazon page, whatever.
Great.
But if they could start reading and coming up with their own, hey, what? I'm not lying in this book, okay? There's parts that are very tough. You read some of them online. That's his passing, right? Very tough. But I have a whole book. A book. Did I say that? A whole chapter. I have it here. Here we go. Let's see here. I put some papers. Let's see. Where the hell did I put it? Okay. I have a whole chapter that's called Scientology Unfiltered. And that chapter, it's after the book. Okay, Scientology Unfiltered.
You actually put the web address truthaboutscientology.com.
Oh, that's a quote from the website.
That's a quote from that website?
From that website, yes.
Wow.
What does it say?
It says the preliminary analysis suggests that approximately 60% of people who try Scientology take only one course or service, that 80% of new members become inactive within the first 2 years, and that 65% of those who reach the level of clear become inactive within a year of doing so. From source, the truthaboutscientology.com. Very interesting.
Anyway, the whole point is I have a chapter written about Scientology because I wanted to explain what it really is in the most basic way possible. You know, we go into Aaron like, I don't have my glasses on. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, here we go. And I don't have to read this here, but here we go. We talk about, for example, the bridge and OT levels.
Mm-hmm.
But we do that in one paragraph or two.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the OT, operating Titan, okay, the spirit thing, in 2 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Reincarnation, what is the belief?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Anyway,
that's great. That's fantastic. And when are you starting your Spanish marketing blitz? Are you allowed to say?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Because you're going to do a whole media blitz in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to Puerto Rico. I'm going to be there from the 23rd to the 27 or 20. Yeah, 27. And it's going to be very fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun. There's many conspiracies about my father on the internet. And some of them are close to the real truth.
Do you mean about how he died?
How he died
Mm-hmm.
and why he died.
Mm.
I bring my own, how do you say, accounts of events that happened
Mm-hmm.
to all the information I had. I was part of the last couple of years of his. I got to know him. Like to see him a couple times. It was very sad to see him go away. Mainly because I couldn't be part of it. Okay. I have a chapter called, what is it? The Unforgiven Secret, or the Unforgivable Secret. Okay. Where, very tough subject title, because I try to forgive the fact that I couldn't be involved with certain aspects of his death, or I could not help him. I was not allowed to be part of his last day. It's a little bit selfish, but I could not help him. Even if I could, between his involvement with the church or the amount of information that I was getting to my ears, I wish I was at least know the severity of what he was about to do. And this is something that's, I'm about to say it on camera. It's on the book. It was known that was going to happen. Okay. So it was, so
you're saying the people in Scientology knew he was a threat to himself.
Yes.
And they knew what would happen when they released him from their control.
Yes.
Right.
They throw him out of the ship, of course. Right.
Did they even take steps to button up certain affairs and button up certain this before truly leaving him to his own devices?
I don't know, but we can assume everything, right? I don't know. And I don't care. Most that is important to me with writing the book is to raise awareness for something that nobody couldn't control, his mental health status. He couldn't even help himself, right? So we're never gonna know, Aaron, if he defeated Scientology and he tried to leave. We don't know.
What was that last phrase?
Did he try to leave? Like like he would try to pull away from that because they turn his back, or something else happened, right? Like that they was completely involved on it, right? All I know is that they know he was suicidal, right? Of course, and they didn't want anything to do with it. Period. No, we're the same thing that happened to Lisa and the other people that you're aware of.
Whitney Mills.
If you get sick of your head, unfortunately, and whoever's watching out there, Scientologist or not, if you get sick of your head, which most people do at some point and some level in their lives, they won't help you. They can't help you. They're not going to be liable for anything that you do in their hands, in their control.
And I'll take it one step further. They would rather have you dead than in the care of a mental health professional.
Well, there you go. That's a good comment. It's on my book. It's a good phrase. Why did I say it's on my book? Because in the last years, after my dad passed, it came to my ears. I get chills. That somebody would tell me, or directly, or I had listened to somebody had told me one or the other, right? It came to my ears, the fact that it would be better to see my father dead than to take him to a doctor, because they're not heads and they're crazies. That's how much Scientology changes your head. How could you tell me or anybody or somebody that you rather see him dead than give him help? What the hell is that? How? So that doesn't add up to me, Aaron. How would you even conceive the idea that a psychiatrist, it's a bad person, and a psychologist is a bad person, or a therapist is a bad person? How? Because Scientology told you otherwise?
Right.
And that's what you grew up with?
Exactly.
How?
Exactly.
How?
Yeah.
That's what the world needs the most. Don't you think the world needs more mental health support and therapy and whatever?
Yeah.
And that bothers me a lot. Okay, that makes me uncomfortable that I know that information.
Yeah.
And some people might accept that. Okay. And there's a contradiction there, because there'll be people, not me, that would think that because of his belief choices, they had to abide to that and make sure that he was that we follow whatever he liked. Okay.
It was his wishes.
It was his wishes. Okay. His wishes was not to kill himself. I'm so sorry for that.
Right.
He was sick. He was mentally ill.
Right. He wanted help. He wanted it from Scientology.
He wanted help, and there was a point in time about a year before his death. You know, he got into some issues, business issues, right? I talk about it in the book. The details are not complete, right? They're the best as I knowledge, because I was completely out of the picture. But those issues, he called me one day, out of nowhere. I get a call from my dad. He never called me. He kept me aside. Okay. He called me one day. I'm in the garage, Aaron, to tell me I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, is this dad talking? Really? My dad, my Scientology dad, OT8 is telling me, Francisco. He called me Francis. I'm in trouble. What do you mean, Dad? What do you mean? This is about a year and a half before his death. He's in free wins and he's doing some shit and trying to handle some issues, and he's got into trouble with people. It was a cluster mess, right? I'm in trouble, Francisco. He never talked to me like that in probably 30 years. And what do you mean, Dad? Oh yeah, I got in trouble and with some members, Scientology, and I need you to know this, Dad. I just want you to. His whole idea was just to make me aware of this. Maybe because one day I will talk about it. Okay, let's think positive here for a second. He wanted to give me the message that he got in trouble, and there was nothing he can do to get out of himself. He got into a problem with Scientology and members, high profile people, and there was nothing he can do to get out of that problem. And I said to him, Dad, let me help you. Let me help you. Being the tough guy like I always been, let me try to help you. I'm gonna help you with that the computer guy, Francisco. And he said, I can't. I'm unable to do that. You know that. You know that very clearly, especially that I cannot do that, Francisco. As a son as I am, I was living here already. Of course, this is a couple years ago, maybe 2019, maybe. I said to him, I keep pushing, and that call lasted probably 20 minutes, longest ever been. All I was trying to say is let me help you. Let's go outside the Scientology. Let's try to do something about it. Let me help you, please, Dad. Please, Dad. Please. And I try to maintain a phone conversation, offering my help until it ended the conversation, and I never saw him for another year. And when I saw him was the time that he came to see me. He looked like he had a cancer or something because he was so skinny that it would make you cry. If you saw him, he would walk in the house. I haven't seen him, so he disappeared after that call. He just wanted to give me that message.
It's amazing that he wanted you to know.
He wanted me to know that message for whatever reason it was. It did not make sense to me until, I guess, now or future, that he wanted me to know that Scientology did not, they were not going in his favor. Everything was going sour. Everything's going to shit, okay? And I wanted you to know that I got into, just like that, I got into deep shit in Español. Me jodí, me metí en problemas, así, in Spanish. Okay. I wanted you to know that. So the whole conversation was not to me to help him. It was just so you know.
That's
so
incredible.
You know. So you should have never made that call. If they knew that he made that call, I'm in trouble. But anyway, so that happened. Okay. And then a year after he appeared.
Do you know, was he calling you from Flag or the ship? Do you have any idea?
Good one. No, probably. He was always in Flag. Okay. He was most of the time, the last couple of years of his life, he was in Flag, most likely dealing with his own mental struggles, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Am I sick, or is it Scientology making me crazy? What's going on here? He's trying to find a solution for himself. So he's going between Flag and the, what does it say? The Free Winds.
Do you have any reason to believe he was under the care of Dr. Minkoff, Dr. David Minkoff? I mean, any reason to believe? Do you know one way, yes, no, or don't know? Because I'm betting he was.
Maybe. Okay,
that's
all I can say.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Let me say it clear to the camera. Maybe. Okay. The book brings as much information as I can.
Yeah.
Without getting myself into much trouble. Okay, put it that way. Okay, yeah. It's a well-written write-up of the cover-up they did, the implications of Scientology, to make sure not only us here in the United States that reads English, the Spanish-speaking people that happen to read it or pass it to this friend or whatever, don't come close to that thing. Don't go do the little way of happiness, el camino a la felicidad, fundación, el camino a la fundación del camino a la felicidad. No hagan eso. You don't do that. Es todo un truco. Okay, it's all a trick. Sorry, I'm saying some Spanish words here in case any Spanish people are watching. That's all I have to say with that. Okay, and any thing you want to.
Well, the thing that got you in trouble when your dad was still alive, of just saying to one person or two people, stay away from Scientology.
Yes.
It's not best for you. The one thing that got you in trouble doing it just a little bit.
No, also the fact that I stay away from it.
Right.
For that long.
No, sure. But, the disconnection, the first time he disconnected from you in the Home Depot was because you told one person, stay away from there. You don't want to go there. It's not good for you.
So
now you're doing it on a grand scale.
Well, it's not a grand scale
Yes,
because
it is.
we don't know. We don't. I hope that the message, either through the book or YouTube or my recordings, I have plans to do that eventually, right? Um, uh, is to raise awareness. The same thing you're doing, Aaron, which is the best thing ever. It's raising. That's the only thing we can do. Raise awareness. This is what happened to Aaron. This is what happened to these people. This is why you're protesting here. You're protesting because not because you have a YouTube channel and you live from, you help, it helps you and helps other people create content. It's because that's the only thing we're allowed to do. Speak our, our lives, what happened to us. All I want to do here, Aaron, now is say some of the chapter names to get some people to maybe be interested on taking a shot at my book, which I promise you it's going to be a very interesting read. I think so. I love it. I wrote it, right? It's a very tough book. Okay, this is not a, how you say, Aaron. It's not. It's it's a very strong, opinionated story of my life and my relationship with that and my experience and how I got out and how we can all together find a way to raise awareness, which is this is what I'm going to try to do for the rest of my life. I'm going to raise awareness of this Scientology destruction. It's a truth. The chapter names, for example, goes back to Toys and More, which is where Dad was running the toy business, and how he got into Scientology, the mission. We talk about the mission. We talk about a crazy divorce. My mother, to give you a little synopsis, was left with no alimony to raise 4 kids. This was all led by Scientology Dianetics in Puerto Rico. They were advising my father in marriage stuff. This is what you need to do and all that stuff. It's all in the book. Anyway, I have a chapter called Problematic Children. Okay. I have a chapter called Fatherly Warmth. Caribbean Goods. That's his first business. And then this is an interesting one. There's a chapter called, I don't know if you read this one, Imprisoned Prophet. Imprisoned Prophet. Why is it? What? What the hell, Francisco? Father getting Scientology. Guess what he does? He stops paying alimony for my mother. And he goes to court and he tells my mother, you're going to like this one. He tells my mother in court, in front of the judge, with Scientology people from Dianetics and lawyers that pertain to, there were members too, next to him. He tells my mother in court, the court is about to put him in jail for not paying alimony for years. So he's been like pushing that thing away. Mom had to go get a job, whatever. The point is that in court, he turns and tells my mom, if you join Scientology, we are not divorcing. This happened, okay? And 100% sure, the fact that happened, okay? There's some people that are denying that already, that I know who you are. It happened, okay? My mother acknowledged that, and everybody, it's in the book. And they divorced. Point being is that he believed that you come with me, we're going to maintain our children and we don't have to divorce. My grandfather told my dad, I'll pay for the alimony for the couple of years you owe them. You owe the alimony. And Scientology advised him, don't do that. Don't take that money. Go to jail. He went to the worst jail, prison in Puerto Rico called El Oso Blanco, where, guess what he did? He started teaching Scientology, Dianetics to inmates.
So he'd rather go to jail than pay
alimony.
The alimony that your grandfather had offered to pay for him.
Yes.
Why?
But anyway, Scientology advice.
Okay.
Ego. In court, they call him in court, no, in prison, they call him the prophet because he was giving classes of Dianetics.
Wow.
And I have letters from him from, just talking about that. But anyway.
Wow.
Okay.
Shall we tackle some of the
this.
comments that have been started? while
Let's
we've
do
been
it. Let's do it.
talking?
I talk too much. Let's do it.
All right, let's see. Here, scoot up a little bit if you can.
Okay.
Oh. All right, let's see. All right. Old Frizz says, I always say if you 100% believed sick thetans were literally stuck to your body,
Oh my God.
of course you'd be mentally tormented.
Sorry.
Yeah. Constance June. Isolation in solitary confinement. Is not what people need when having a mental health issue.
Mm-hmm.
Cubana Chica. Yet another heartbreaking story. Julia O'Connell. It is absolutely not selfish to want a relationship with your family member. Yeah.
Thank you.
But Scientology definitely makes you feel like it is. Ren again. So Francisco was a child when his dad got into Scientology. How old would you say?
No, 16. About 16.
15 or 16?
15 or 16, yes. But you can consider that a child too, kind of.
Rochelle, they always get you at a low point in life.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Janice Gillum Grady.
There we go.
Frank Sr. was such a good Scientologist that he also betrayed his friendship and working relationship with my father, Peter Gillum, who spent years helping Frank build his business.
There we go.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Bill Karmetsky. I was the staff at Coral Gables from 1985 to 1991.
No. Oh, shoot. Maybe he's seen me.
Then slowly got drained of all my dough, which immediately turned to scratch, if you get my meaning.
Yeah.
Wow. Deanna Ross, disconnection is evil.
Yes.
Elston Gunn, thank you for gifting 5 channel memberships. I appreciate that. Julia O'Connell, family disconnection is just plain awful. And another one from Janice Gillum Grady. No, they do not and haven't for over 15 years. Peter was cut off, and even his board of directors, who were Scientologists, screwed him. Great way to appreciate 60 years of dedication.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ren again says, do you think the multiple disconnections happened because your dad was tasked to try to draw you back in?
Yes. 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 He never stopped trying until only the last couple of years, Aaron. Yes. He never stopped trying.
Wow. Another one from Janice. The multiple disconnections from Peter was due to him at 85 years old, reconnecting with his children after being assigned to get us to stop speaking out, which we did not do. And Janice says, Frank Suarez Sr.'s book, The Power of Your Metabolism, was available in certain airport bookstores back in the day.
Okay.
The bipolar astrophotographer. I was thinking about this the other day. Ex-Scientologists are freely allowed to care about disconnection and all the emotions that come with it, while active and practicing Scientologists are not. Yeah. Bodil Vant. Sorry, I always unsure how to pronounce it. How do you think it affected you to actually do resist in your own way by cheating the system? And also, how did it affect you not to speak your truth?
Tremendously. Imagine keeping that all my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did affect me, actually, to go through those levels and hold the meter and look at the I put on the book, but I will read the floating needles on their glasses. I
You
figured
would
that
watch
out.
your needle in their
Yeah,
glasses.
yeah. That was part of it.
And it would help.
But then
you make them
eventually I
float?
got so good at it that I
Yeah.
did not need that anymore. I learned how to manipulate the meter.
Yeah.
With my mind, though, I would think about things.
Yeah.
And I would learn. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mary James, I'm sure there are many people keeping the peace, so to speak, just to keep relationships.
Yes.
Anna from Canada, Scientology parents often loves conditionally, which is not human nature. Yeah. And bipolar astrophotographer. Anna from Canada, that is why Scientology is so similar to an abusive marriage. Conditional love is the base ingredient for trauma to occur.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice.
Yes. Joe Raz and her alien dog. I'm just guessing. My theory is that's the only way they can get Sea Org members. Promise them room and board, food, travel, visas, etc. Scientology is preying on the poor. Oh, as far as promoting Scientology in poor areas of poor countries or poor, then maybe it's to get Sea Org members.
I don't know how they still get more members, actually, like family members, bring other family members, because, you know, you go to an org anywhere, they're empty. Even in Madrid, like when I travel, like nobody's going in there.
Yeah.
And well,
I mean, I think they're dying very quickly.
no, very quickly.
Yeah.
I hope this helps.
I
Like
hope,
more than anything.
I mean,
I hope it helps.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
Steffi T. What type of church would rather see you dead than see you get help?
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah. And Becky Williamson says, exactly. It's not a church. It's a money-hungry criminal organization like the mafia.
Yes.
And Love Maddie says, I'm glad he will be able to reach Hispanic folks that might be taken in by this cult.
Thank you.
They are being targeted by Scientology.
Yes.
And thank you, Jill Davidson, for the super sticker.
Nice.
And Zinnia's excellent video today. Thank you for this guest. His book, and most importantly, his truth at how destructive and dangerous this is for families. There you go.
Well,
I'm glad we were finally able to do this chat
Well.
after so many years.
there we go.
Has it been years? Maybe it's just been a couple years. I'm not
We
sure.
don't know. It's a secret.
It's been a while.
It might be a secret for us, right?
That's right.
I really hope it helps get to the hands that I would like it to go.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
Mm-hmm.
especially like people that speak Spanish or English, it doesn't matter. Like I told you, the whole project might not make it. You know what I mean in terms of a project, but if I'm able to get to some people,
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I
Once again, guys, here is the book on Amazon. You can get it in English. You can get it in Spanish. You can get it in Kindle. Is there an audiobook yet?
It's coming.
It's coming. Audiobook coming. The Halfway Bridge. Frank Suarez and the Struggle Behind His Success. Memoirs of His Eldest Son. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, oh, Yankee for my love, then you could click right